Hey, Professor Homa, welcome to the last part of our Buffalo Wild Wings, hopefully, and we're going to recap a couple things here, and we're just going to make our PDF file. One thing I just want to point out here in our InDesign file, remember we imported or replaced a PDF file, we typed some text down here, and we put a stroke on it, and we placed our TIFF file in the background. Now, these images, there's three of them. We also had an EPS down here in the back of our postcard. That was part of that, and we placed in three images, our white EPS, our black EPS, and our TIFF file. So those are managed links, and we have to keep them together. If there's any kind of warning or anything in here, we have to update them. If you ever make a change, if you have to make a change to your background image, no big deal. You go back to Photoshop. Here's our Photoshop document. I'll open up the one we had open, the actual PSD file that we had open. This is the Photoshop. So if we had to make a change, you want to make the shadow lighter. We want to do something with this image, or one of these images got messed up, we want to put another one in. We can make any change we want to this and save it, and then just generate another TIFF file. So if you had to generate another TIFF file, we would just kind of go back to InDesign and just kind of modify it. So if we did any little thing, let's just say I went in here and I didn't like the percentage of this, and I wanted a little darker. I wanted my gold a little darker. I wanted it from 60% something to 75, and I want to make that gold a little darker. And maybe I wanted the drop shadow down there a little bit lighter. I'm not sure where that drop shadow is. There it is. And maybe I just want to turn it down just a little bit. Just turn the opacity down. Made two little changes. That's it. And then maybe even this picture in the background. Maybe the background picture, the people, I want a little warmer. So I'm going to go to image adjustments, because everything's very yellow here and gold, and I want to keep the whole look very warm. So I could go to image adjustments, I could go to photo filter, and maybe I just want to warm up my image a little, just a little, not a whole lot, maybe 10%, a little with my warming filter. And there's kind of before and after, just to warm up a little bit of that. Okay, so I just made a couple changes like that to my Photoshop file, and then if I want to generate the TIFF, I just go Files. I could save my Photoshop file, and then I'll go Save As and save another TIFF, and I'll choose TIFF down at the bottom here, and I'll uncheck layers, and I could even just make sure it's the same name. You could even click on the name here and basically just replace it. Hit Save, and I'm going to hit Replace, and everything should be the same. TIFF options, you shouldn't have to do anything other than maybe discard layers. And then when I go back to InDesign, you can see I get that warning sign here in my links. And it just says modified, and it says double click to update. That's it. Now it has the warmer version in here, and it has the darker yellow, and everything's updated. Same thing with my Illustrator file. Remember, if I go back to Illustrator, now this is my Illustrator, but I could open up, if I had any problem with my EPS, I could open up one of my EPSs, and here it is. If I had any issue here that I wanted to change for whatever reason, I forgot to make something, I could go back here, make a change, and just close my EPS, and it'll be updated as well. So you could always go back and edit these individual files that are in the InDesign file. So it's like we have these different components that are separate components. So we could always update the EPS, we could update the text, we could update the TIFF in the background because we have our original Photoshop file where all these elements are. If you wanted to replace a picture in here, we could do that. So any of this stuff we can update. And the EPS on our page 2. So that's it. This is pretty much the way this would go to print. The only thing that would be different than if this was really going to print is we would have an 1/8 of an inch bleed on here. We would have made the image an 1/8 of an inch bigger all around. That would allow them to, when they print it, to actually trim off the overlap, because they won't print ink right to the edge of a card like that. There would be some overlap on there, because this would be a 4-side bleed, because there's image going all around the card. So we don't have that in there, but we've done pretty much everything else. And it involved a lot of files and a lot of different work, and it encompassed almost everything we do, in a graphic design job, from doing all the vector artwork to all the raster artwork, and then doing layout. So this was a good project in terms of doing all that, although we didn't design the logo, we recreated it, we didn't design it. So what we're going to do here is just make our final file from InDesign. Is we're going to generate our PDF file. And a lot of times PDFs are distributed to print, but you also want to distribute your InDesign file along with your images as well. So I'm going to save that. So I'm going to save my InDesign file, and I'm going to do File Export, and I'm going to choose Print, which it should go to by default. and I have PDF. It's using that by default as well. So I'm going to hit save. And the only thing you could change on here, if you want to use press quality is the highest quality. It's high quality pre-press printing. So that's the highest quality, and that's the only thing you should have to do. It'll do both pages. So I'm going to hit export, and it should get saved in the background. So if I go to my file that I was working in, and here's that, I'm using that sample file, and this is the one that I did here. This is just a temp file if you see this thing in here from InDesign, but here I have my EPSs, the black and the white, and then I have my InDesign, which is my kind of final file, and my PDF, which is my final file, and then the PDF with the TIFF in it, and the Illustrator, which we started. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 files all together, and that's just a temp file, and that's pretty much our project. That's what we're going to put into our upload folder in Dropbox. So that's our final. If you want to take a look at your PDF, just double click on it, and there it is. That's our different one. There's the one I did before. I actually like the one I just did now a little bit better. I like the pictures a little bit better, and I like the logo actually on this side as well. So, you know, this is our final, and I like this kind of semi-transparent kind of look better than the one down at the bottom, but either way they look good. And again, like I said, this thing should probably have some kind of coupon on it to really get people to come out and hold on to it. Otherwise, it's just an ad that they might just throw away. But if it was a coupon, then it would be something worth keeping. So, but that was our P4 postcard.